gentlemen, here we go with game number 1 between Sen and Rhett. We're going to be heading over to NASL Metalopolis. Can't wait for this to happen. 2 powerhouse players going at it in one of the final weeks of NASL.
Yeah, man, it's going to be a ZVZ, of course, only cross positions available on NASL Metalopolis. And Rhett's one of those players we know very well as a drone-heavy player. He loves his drones. He loves playing those macro games. And on a map like this, we've talked about it before, but the hatchery distance at the natural, while it's very wide open and hard to defend, the hatchery distance from the ramp, which is very important, is very close. So you can set up a type of Sim City. You can defend against things like Zerg and Baneling, and that's why something like 15 hatch is actually viable on a map like this, despite the wide openness. So I would expect to see that from a player like Rhett, who really does like that macro play. Now, what do you know about Sen's ZVZ play?
Sen can be very dynamic in his ZVZs. I've seen him all in a lot, particularly if you look back to the NASL Season 1 finals. A lot of people would say Sen played amazing, and he did. I don't want to take anything away from him, but we talked about it actually very explicitly. He was staying over my house. He did a lot of pre-layer timings.
Okay.
That's what he did. And he said, he's like, yeah, I know. It's pre-layer timings. ZVZ, he said, even at the Season 1 finals, is still very underdeveloped.
Yeah,
and there's a lot of work to be done on it. But he said he was hitting those +1 missile attack pre-layer timings and really allocating all of that gas to be centered around that first timing push.
Yeah, and of course, I mean, even remembering back to Broodor, think about how long it took for ZVZ to get developed. You know, just with the speed of Zerglings and the mobility of Zerg armies, it's hard to just play a standard macro game and not worry about things like counterattacks, etc. And with the Baneling added in, it just makes it even more volatile when one Baneling can all of a sudden take out, you know, a large group of Zerglings that can just shift the game one way or another in the blink of an eye. So you have to be very careful in this type of situation. We do see the 15 hash went down for Rhett. So yeah, he is going to be going for that macro style. Meanwhile, of course, Sen went for that pretty standard speedling opening here. We'll have to see, is he going to keep mining gas after 100 and go for the really quick Banelings, or is he going to pull some of them off?
Now, I know Sen's style is to leave like 1 on gas.
Right.
I've seen that a lot from him, and a lot of other Zergs. We'll see. I mean, some other players like to just take them all off gas, focus on those minerals to get their double queens up, things like that. We'll see what Sen does. It looks like he's getting 4 Zerglings right away in this early game and takes everything off. I thought he was going to continue on because we do see him going up to 12 additional gas. That is a little bit of a mistake if he's going to completely pull away. And wow, 6 Zerglings out. This isn't something we normally see because Metabolic Boost isn't up yet.
Yeah, well, I'm trying to see, has he seen the hatchery yet? He has not. His overall is getting close, so he actually hasn't seen what Rhett's doing. He has literally no clue what's going on, so he has to be aware of the possibility of some early aggression from Rhett. Now he's been able to see the expansion and realize that he's actually pretty safe right now. Of course, the pool just finishing now for Rhett, so of course, he's just going to have those 4 Zerglings on the way. He's going to have to be careful with this micro because he could lose a couple drones here to the earlier Zerglings from Sen.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, the first 4 Zerglings will get in here, and there's only a Spine Crawler. The Queen is actually really far away, and only 2 Zerglings come out in this front. It looks like Rhett is going to have to cancel it. Yes, he does. Now finally targeting down on these drones. 1 drone goes down. A lot is actually being traded in this early game. And look at this. Sen is actually going to take a huge advantage in this early game stage.
This is terrible for Rhett right now. He's trying to get some more Zerglings out, but every time 2 Zerglings pop out, and of course, Sen has been able to retain the lings of his own. So now he's going to move down to the natural, maybe pick off some of these drones. He's actually going to go for the Queen. I don't know if this is the right choice because he might not be able to get it, but it looks like he will be able to get it. The Queen's just do the damage so quickly. Rhett is just falling so far behind here. He desperately needed that Queen, but you know what? He is still on 2 base. He still does have more larva than Sen has available to him, so he's certainly not in the worst position right now, but he has even on drones, and of course he's been forced to make nothing but links this entire time and get that Baneling nest since he's been unable to figure out, is there a Baneling nest on the way from my opponent? So he is quite in a bit of trouble, I feel.
Well, yeah, definitely, because Sen is going to continue this pressure, noticing that he's been so effective with that initial pressure. He will keep it going. He has a lot of Zerglings coming out, and look at that, a Roach Warren coming down, so he will follow up with a huge Roach pressure.
Now this attack is coming in and do a lot of damage. He actually targeted the Spine for a moment there, but decided against it. Now he's going to go into the main using that whole position micro to try to target down some of the drones before the Zerglings got in. It goes off all the Zerglings of Rhett. He's going to get a couple of these drones as well. Looks like he's actually only killed 2 drones this entire game. There's the third one. Really phenomenal defense by Rhett that he's actually only lost, 3 total despite the amount of aggression he's been taking here. But that queen might get caught off guard. No, it is protected by that spine crawler. So it looks like Rhett will be able to equalize here and start droning up, get both these bases saturated, and that'll put him in a pretty good position. But of course, since, as you said, the Roach Warren is up for Sen, he does have that nice tech advantage. Those Roaches will be able to not only defend any type of pressure Rhett might want to put on with those Banelings, but of course, if he actually moves forward for an attack with Roaches, Rhett with just pure Zerg and Baneling will have quite a hard time defending.
Oh yeah, and I like this actually going up to the second extractor very critically. Actually, Sen targeted down all the drones that were on gas and stopped Rhett from ever making gas. That gives him the ability to have that Roach lead. He's going to start pumping these out. We can see 5 of them right now on the field. Zergling's going to poke in there, see those Roaches. Now, what does Rhett do? He needs to start mining it from that extractor. I mean, if he lets the Roach count get out of hand, there we go. The Roach Warren goes down. If he lets it go out of hand, the timing push by Sen will be unstoppable. And look at this. He already has 8 Roaches out in the field. The 9th one coming out right now. Sen is in a great position. Oh my god.
Oh,
a third
wow.
coming up for Rhett.
This is so unbelievably risky right now because they've been even on Harvesters, and Rhett's been under a lot of pressure, and these Roaches are going to come forward. But look at the food, man. Sen has a 20 food advantage, even though Rhett has the higher drone count. And he's actually just making, looks like Sen making 24 more lings here, so he's going to reinforce this with speedlings. That's going to be excellent since, of course, they can traverse across the map immediately to help reinforce. There we go, now sending that out with his army, so the Roaches will be arriving. I'm looking at what Rhett has. He has a second spawner on the way, but right now only has 1 and a couple of Zerglings. He doesn't have any Roaches out for himself. 6 are on the way, but they might not be done in time. The Overlord sees everything. He's going to see how vulnerable this is. He's going to come in for the attack. The Roaches are going to target fire this one spine. It's already at 2/3. It's going to get killed immediately. The second spine's going to get target fired as well. Cancelled immediately. I don't know what Rhett can do. He's so far behind right now. The Surgeons are going in for the engagement. His Roaches are popping out, but they're just too little, too late with that 3rd base on the way. He was forced to cancel the 3rd, and now Rhett might just end up losing this game this early on.
Yeah, there's no chance that actually Rhett can come back from this. Good game comes out from Rhett, and Sen is going to take game number 1. And there you have it. We're going to have Sen taking game number 1. I have to say it all came down to the initial Zerglings. The 6 Zerglings that Sen sent out, or plus, killed not only, forced to cancel on a spine crawler, killed a queen, killed the drone, killed a lot of Zerglings, and from there he had the perfect scout. And he just continued the pressure more and more and more. I like the Roach transition, even for going the Banelings, because he knows his opponent has no way to actually attack him.
Yeah, he saw the Baneling nest, right, with those Zerglings. So that's really important. He knew his opponent would be vulnerable to Roaches. And as you were talking about, you pretty much called it all in the beginning. The pre-layer timings that Sen likes to go for. That's exactly what he did. He pumped out some Roaches. He went for the perfect timing, had all the speedling reinforcements, and it worked out for him. He was able to game number 1.
Definitely. Well, we're going to game number 2 in a little bit. Stay tuned. We'll be back with Sen and Rhett.